On 2 August 1100, the King of England entered the New Forest on a royal hunt. Before sunset, William Rufus lay dead beneath the trees, an arrow through his body, and exactly what happened remains debated. Officially, it was a hunting accident, but rumors soon followed. A powerful king was dead, his brother Henry was nearby, and the English throne suddenly stood empty. Accident, conspiracy, or simply terrible luck? To understand his mysterious death, we first need to understand his extraordinary reign. William Rufus was ambitious, energetic and controversial, a king who fought his family, challenged the church, and ruled England with formidable authority. Their father had divided his inheritance between 3 ambitious sons. William possessed England, Robert ruled Normandy, and Henry initially had neither. That decision created a family rivalry that would reshape the Norman world. William Rufus had secured the English crown, but almost immediately, powerful Norman nobles challenged him. Barely months into his reign, the new king faced a rebellion that could have ended everything. William had worn the crown for barely 6 months when powerful Norman nobles turned against him. Many owned estates on both sides of the Channel and wanted England and Normandy reunited under his elder brother, Robert. The rebels backed Robert Curthose, Duke of Normandy. Their plan was simple: remove William Rufus, place Robert on England's throne, and restore their father's divided territories beneath a single ruler. Rebellions spread across England. Powerful barons fortified their castles and challenged the young king's authority. At Rochester in Kent, resistance became especially dangerous. William now faced the first great test of his reign. William responded cleverly. Rather than relying only on Norman nobles, he appealed directly to his English subjects, promising better laws and fairer treatment. Thousands rallied behind the king against the rebellious barons. William concentrated his forces on Rochester, one of the rebellion's strongest centers. Surrounded and increasingly isolated, the defenders waited for Robert's promised support from Normandy. But the duck never successfully arrived. By summer, the rebellion had collapsed. William had survived his first challenge and strengthened his grip on England. But his victory did not end the family struggle. Across the Channel stood the brother who had tried to replace him. William had defeated Robert's supporters in England. Now his attention turned toward Normandy itself. The rivalry between the conqueror's sons was about to become a struggle for their father's entire inheritance. Their father's empire was divided by the Channel. William ruled England while Robert controlled Normandy. But neither brother was satisfied, and their rivalry soon turned William's attention from defending his crown to expanding his power. William began challenging Robert's authority in Normandy, supporting rival nobles and gaining control of strategic territories. Before long, the conflict between the brothers threatened to become an open war for their father's Norman homeland. The sons of the conqueror now stood on opposing sides, yet neither could easily destroy the other. Their struggle became a dangerous mixture of military pressure, shifting alliances and negotiations between ambitious Norman nobles. In 1091, William and Robert reached an agreement. Rufus gained important Norman territories, while the brothers temporarily recognized each other's position. Their rivalry had paused, but their remarkable family drama was far from finished. Their agreement created another loser, their younger brother Henry. Squeezed between his powerful brothers, he lost much of his position. For now, Henry seemed the least important son of the conqueror. History would prove otherwise. With his brother temporarily contained, William turned toward another frontier. To the north, relations with Scotland were deteriorating. Soon, William Rufus would face King Malcolm III and another struggle for control of Britain's borders. William had survived rebellion and confronted his own brother. Now his ambitions stretched northward, where England and Scotland were moving toward a confrontation that would end with the death of another king. England's northern frontier had long been unstable. King Malcolm III of Scotland had repeatedly intervened in northern England, while William Rufus was determined to protect the kingdom he had inherited from his father. In 1091, Malcolm advanced into northern England once again. William responded quickly, gathering an army and moving north. Two kings were now heading toward confrontation, but this time, battle was temporarily avoided. The armies confronted one another, but negotiations prevent a major battle. Malcolm acknowledged William's authority over certain English lands, while old arrangements between the Scottish and English crowns were temporarily restored. The peace did not last. Disputes over territory and William's treatment of Malcolm damaged their fragile agreement. By 1093, relations had deteriorated badly, and Malcolm once again marched into northern England. In November 1093, Malcolm invaded Northumberland. Near Alnwick, his army encountered forces associated with the powerful Norman lord Robert the Mowbray. This time there would be no negotiated settlement. Near Alnwick, Malcolm III and his eldest son Edward lost their lives during the campaign. After 35 years as Scotland's king, Malcolm was gone, and the balance of power along England's northern frontier changed dramatically. Malcolm's death weakened Scotland and strengthened William's position. Rufus tightened English control in the north, developing Carlisle as a strategic stronghold and pushing Norman royal authority toward a frontier that remained fiercely contested. William Rufus had survived rebellion, challenged Normandy and strengthened England's northern frontier. But another struggle was growing at home, this time not against armies or kings, but against the power of the church. William had defeated rebellious nobles and strengthened his frontiers. But another source of power stood within his kingdom, the church. Before long, the king and England's leading churchmen would become bitter opponents. At the center of the conflict stood Anselm, appointed Archbishop of Canterbury in 1093. A respected scholar and reformer, he believed the church possessed rights that even England's powerful king should respect. Their disputes involved money, royal authority, and the independence of the church. Behind these disagreements lay a larger question troubling medieval Europe. Where did a king's authority end and the church begin? Matters became more complicated by a dispute over papal authority. Anselm recognized Pope Urban II, while William initially resisted committing himself. Politics, religion, and royal power had become dangerously intertwined. Their relationship eventually became impossible. In 1097, Anselm left England and traveled toward Rome. The archbishop remained in exile for the rest of William's reign, leaving their dispute unresolved. To his critics, Rufus was greedy, irreverent, and hostile toward the church. Yet he was also an effective ruler who maintained royal authority. Even during his lifetime, opinions about England's king were sharply divided. By the end of the 1090s, William Rufus had survived rebellion, family rivalry, and conflict with the church. Then an unexpected opportunity placed Normandy itself within his grasp. In 1096, Robert Curhos decided to join the First Crusade, but such an enormous expedition required money. To finance his journey, Robert turned to the one man wealthy enough to help, his brother, William Rufus. Robert pledged Normandy to William in return for 10,000 marks to finance his crusade. It was an extraordinary arrangement. Rufus had not conquered his brother's duchy, he had effectively paid to control it. Raising such a vast sum placed enormous pressure on William's government. Contemporary church writers strongly criticized his financial methods, portraying a king determined to extract the resources needed to seize an extraordinary political opportunity. Robert departed for the First Crusade, beginning a journey that would keep him away for years. Behind him, Normandy passed temporarily into William's hands, dramatically expanding the English king's power across the Channel. Their expedition would cover vast distances across medieval Europe. For the first time since their father's death, England and Normandy were again controlled by one man. William Rufus had survived rebellion and family rivalry to become one of Western Europe's most formidable rulers. By 1100, William's authority appeared secure. England was firmly under his control and Normandy was in his hands. Yet at the height of his power, his reign would end suddenly, in a forest he knew well. On the morning of 2 August 1100, William Rufus joined a royal hunting party in the New Forest. By evening, the king was dead, and his younger brother was racing for the crown. On 2 August 1100, William Rufus entered the New Forest with a group of nobles for a day's hunting. Nothing appeared unusual, yet before sunset, England would suddenly have no king. As medieval hunting parties often did, the group gradually scattered through the forest. Among William's companions was Walter Tyrrell, a nobleman whose name would soon become permanently connected with the king's death. What happened next remains uncertain. According to the traditional account, an arrow fired during the hunt struck William Rufus. Within moments, the 40-year-old King of England was dead. Later accounts blamed Walter Tyrrell, who was said to have fled after the incident. Tyrrell reportedly denied killing William. With no investigation capable of establishing the truth, uncertainty has survived for centuries. The king's remains were taken to Winchester and buried in the cathedral. There was no grand royal funeral. William's 12-year reign had ended with astonishing suddenness, deep inside an English forest. William left no children, and his brother Robert was still returning from crusade. Henry recognized the opportunity immediately. He moved swiftly to secure the royal treasury and then raced to claim England's crown. Was William's death simply a hunting accident or something more? Historians have debated the question for generations. Evidence for murder remains inconclusive, but the speed of Henry's succession ensured suspicion never completely disappeared. Just 3 days after William's death, Henry was crowned King of England. The Conqueror's youngest son, once left with money but no kingdom, had seized the opportunity that would make him Henry I. William Rufus died without an heir and without explaining what happened beneath those trees. But his sudden death opened the way for Henry I, a king whose long reign would bring triumph, tragedy, and another devastating succession crisis.